And welcome back to another week of the Big Red of Beach Night Show. Jim, how you been? You're back in Nebraska.
I am got a nice tan too, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah. So what have you been up to this week?
Oh, just kind of playing pickup sticks after the ice storm.
Yeah, it was quite the storm we had. Saw
Yeah.
that cedar tree got knocked down.
Yeah, that's gonna be some cutting. That thing's about 18 inches in diameter at the base. So I got some wood to haul off.
Well, anyway, Nebraska starts spring ball this week, or they started spring ball, I should say.
Yes, sir.
And a week into it, some things that I took away is that Dylan Raiola, he does look like he's cut some weight. He said yesterday about 9 to 10 pounds. So, and Dana Holgerson commented on that too. He said he looked great, and they were telling him over spring break, "What are you doing?" and everything. And they said he came back lighter. And then he said he's really seen his leadership take off.
That's what Dana said
Hmm.
about Dylan. Yeah, well, it's a big difference between your freshman and sophomore year.
No, absolutely it is. But is is he going to take that step now? I mean, they're talking about it now, but
Well, he's got it in his blood, and I mean, it's pretty clear that Dylan's been groomed to be a quarterback ever since the kid was pretty small.
and well, I was at practice yesterday, and the offense gravitates towards him, and you even saw that as a true freshman for him. But having the receiving corps that he has now, I mean, I was looking at Isaiah Mosey yesterday, and that dude can run routes. He was cooking the linebackers.
Well, last year the some of the receivers, especially the transfer ends, um, I would say overall underperformed.
Oh, hands down. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they did, but now you have Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter, Hardly Gilmore, three transfer receivers. You pair Corey Barney with them, and then these freshmen, Cortez Mills and Isaiah Mosey. I think that's going to be a really good top six in your receiving corps.
And what's is it the tight end this year?
Lindemeyer,
Lindemeyer looks like he's more of a competitor than um number what? 24, 44?
you're thinking of Fedoni.
Padoni.
They got Fedoni though going, I believe, in the fourth to fifth round, and um, when I was at the press conference, I overheard some of the media saying, they're pretty surprised about that he's going to be drafted.
I don't see it.
Well, they got Ty in the top 50 now,
Well, he should
and
be, and
he's gonna be a day two pick.
yeah, I think so too.
But no, speaking of which, Heinrich Harburg, saw him yesterday. Dude is huge. That he's put on some weight, and they said he might have lost a little bit of speed, but the dude's a tight end now. He is humongous.
He's a gamer. He's going to do whatever it takes. I mean, the guy showed some absolute guts sticking around the program and everything else, and doing what it takes to uh, be a part of the team and make him successful. I mean, you go from starting quarterback to carrying a clipboard and then to tight end. I mean, he's got some character.
Yeah, and I think Dana was talking about it yesterday. Right now, well, in the bowl game prep, they kind of had him playing more of a wing and kind of splitting out in the slot. He said now they're really focusing on him learning the terminology of a tight end, the run blocking schemes, being down in a 3-point stance, and the rest comes with it.
His blocking can't be any worse than somebody else's. So, and
And you saw him split out in the bowl game, and
I
he was
did.
blocking really well. Now, my bold prediction for Heinrich Carter, because he's going to be an all Big Ten tight end. I'm not saying he's going to be first team. He might just be honorable mention, but he's going to be on that all Big Ten reference after the 2025 season.
He's a real good athlete, that's for sure.
Yeah. And the offensive line saw Elijah Pritchett yesterday. He's a dude. Obviously, they don't have Henry Lutovsky, Turner Corcoran, or Gunnar Gatula for the spring. Oh, and Teddy Prohaska.
Right.
So you have four linemen that could potentially be starters all out for the spring. But then you got the young guys still, and that's a position to watch.
You said Slim Sledge is out or in?
Sam Sledge he is practicing. He's healthy.
Okay.
But I think that the offensive line is the deepest that they've had. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I forgot to mention Rocco Spindler. I mean, that he's a penciled in starter. They had Pritchett working with the left tackle position. Now that could change when Gatula gets back or whatever, but
Who was our guy that transferred in last year? Was kind of a guard. I think he played Miami a little bit or whatever, but he just never was.
Mazuka?
Yeah,
Yeah, he's done. He was
he,
a senior.
he never was a very good performer.
I thought he performed pretty well when he was in. He just was inconsistent.
Yeah, well, I think he got himself in trouble too.
Well, I don't know. And then another thing that kind of stood out, Dana Holgerson, he does not care about total yards. He doesn't. He said he just, but he does care about yards per play.
Yeah,
I
well,
wanted to get your comment on what that makes you think of from last fall.
uh, it reminds me of some comments that another coach made. Maybe it was an offensive guy said he didn't really know what their average yards per play was,
Yeah,
or the average in the anywhere.
it was it was pretty wild to hear Dana say that
I
in the
think I think it
media.
was very pointed.
Yeah, but I don't know if I necessarily like it too much. But I also don't mind it because you can tell and I think he said it not to take a jab at Satterfield, but to tell the media, hey, I'm getting this shit right. I don't know. Because I mean, I saw Satterfield there yesterday. He was being walking with Harburg out in the field and coaching him up. I mean, Satterfield's still a coach. He's a tight ends coach. One of the highest paid tight ends coach in the history of college football, but
He is tight ends coach still.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then I also saw, so I guess that's really all I really want to touch on the offense, but the guys to look out for. I mean, I think these young receivers and then Jamarian Parker, the true freshman running back, he's going to be somebody to look out for. Holgerson talked really highly of Quentin Ives, and so did Matt Rule this week. That's a guy that they think is going to be a power running back that they got. And they said every running back can catch out of the backfield.
That's
So,
a big thing. What it does, that gives Dylan another option versus getting sacked or thrown out of bounds.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I think that the playmaking skills are there. And Emmett Johnson was talking to the media on Tuesday, and he was saying he doesn't just want to be a running back, he wants to be a weapon. And he flat out said, I mean, it was pretty much confirmed when he announced he was staying at Nebraska, but he said, yeah, he said Coach Holgerson was a big reason why I stayed.
Okay.
So I think that's going to really gel well.
If I did have and I'll start the season with this, a criticism for Matt, and this is season number 3, right?
Yep.
I think the biggest criticism I would have for him is perhaps his loyalty to some of the under coaches and his choice of some of those who he put in charge.
Well, he did make the changes though.
He did, but by God, it's about time.
Yeah. No, for sure. And we will be back to discuss the defense here in a moment. And we're back. Um, Be sure to give this show a like and subscribe. I know about half the viewers are normally subscribed, so if we get everybody to turn on the notifications every time we get a show up, that'd be great. But as we look at the defense yesterday, Christian Jones, a true freshman inside linebacker, that dude's huge.
Is he?
Yes. And saw to see Marquise Watson Trent at the inside backer position. Then you see gosh, I'm going blank. Anyway, of course, Vincent Shavers and everything. And then the jack position, group is very exciting to see the potential they have because they have Willis McGahee there. They have that Pierce Mooberry, a 4-star recruit from, I believe it was Millard North, is where he came from. And then they have Hassan McCullough. So, and then Maverick Noonan as well. They got 4 to 5 jacks that I think all could
I
play.
thought McGahee played really well in the bowl game.
Oh yeah, I think McGahee might even have a higher ceiling than Shavers.
Right.
So those two being paired together is very intriguing. And then at the defensive backfield, the competition there is incredible about what they have. Just because you bring in these transfers and then you still have all these players on your roster that play in the defensive backfield that have all this experience. And so I was asking Rule on Tuesday, where does Hartzog fit into this? I mean, they moved him at safety last spring, and then
Hmm.
towards the end of the year, they had him at corner. Now it appears that he said that Hartzog's more of a nickel back. He said he thought he has where he play in the NFL. Buford is at safety right now.
Neither one of them are that big.
No, but I do think they got a plan for him. They even said they were kind of moving Deshaun Singleton around a little bit. And then,
They got Buford at 5'11". I bet he ain't 5'10", 5'9".
Yeah, he's about 5'10".
They got Hartzog at 5'9", so that makes him about 5'6".
Oh yeah, I think he's a little taller than that, but yeah, no, it's the height there is concerned, but you also got now you have Andrew Marshall, so you're right on the those are your corners. And then
Snyder
Donovan
Wright,
Jones,
Snyder Wright is a good player.
and then you have Donovan Jones too, who played in the bowl game,
Yeah.
who will be a redshirt freshman going into this year. So that there's really a good amount of defensive backs. Now they're going to have to cut, I'd say about 10 of them.
That's too bad. That's another wonderful thing for the NCAA.
Yeah, and we had Mr. Phelan Sanford on last week. He was talking to us about that. He was a walk-on and earned a scholarship, and now you can't do that anymore.
No,
On the bright side, they're going to be able to have 105 players on scholarship now, but that's all you have, or up to.
up to.
So anyway, I when I was looking at the drills they were doing, though, Mike Eckler had them doing a special teams leverage drill.
Really?
Yes, and I mean I've done those drills before too, but it was kind of Nebraska's had that problem where they can't. They'll be running down for a punt, and somebody will be out of position.
Mm-hmm.
So will that translate? That's a big question.
Oh, that's something. That's one of the most basic things, like on a punt. I've tried to teach the people sitting beside me, at least one of them. The game outside contains a big deal on punt. You know, and that's an easy one to blow up.
Yeah, well, you have to. In order for a good punt return, you got to get vertical first. But if you aren't having your outside contained, then they'll just bounce it because you get your first 5 to 10 yards, you try to get vertical and then you bounce it.
Right.
And if you don't have anybody out there, you're screwed.
It's over.
But
I've seen more special teams screw up on Nebraska in the past 5 years than there ever was in all the previous years I've been watching football.
yeah, I mean, in my lifetime, I've seen the past 5 years be probably all the special teams woes I've seen.
Right.
So, I mean, being a kid, you'd see De'Mornay Pearson-L running kicks back or Alex Henry kicking 50-plus yard field goals.
Right.
That's another thing to look at is Nebraska's field goal kicking competition. Alvano, they got back and they got that John Hole. I think it's John Hole's job to lose from what he proved last year.
Yeah, and well, and by God, even with a really crappy snapper.
That'll be something to watch. And I hate to say this already, but don't be surprised if one of those transfers, one of them kickers,
One of the kickers transfer.
when the spring portal window opens. Just something to look at with all the roster numbers and everything. Nebraska will carry both of them on the roster, but something to think about.
Hey, what do you know about our punter?
McAllister,
Yeah.
yeah, he was at Washington. I believe he'll be a fifth-year senior this year with all the COVID and everything years that they've had. But he was a starting punter at Washington, punted on that national championship team or the team that made it to the national championship. So he's just about, I'd say he might even be better than Bishuni.
We probably bought him in, didn't we?
Oh, McAllister, yeah, he's getting paid.
Yeah.
He's enjoying life in Lincoln. I'd say. I mean,
Yeah.
ton of football. Yeah, tell your kids to grow up and learn how to kick a football nowadays because you
Right.
make the NIL thing,
Right.
and you don't got to. I mean, you got to be able to punt a football, and maybe make a tackle.
If you're doing the tackle, it's last resort.
Well, hell, Bushini, I think, probably ended his career with 10 tackles. I mean, that dude always was out there trying to get a tackle because, yeah,
And he played hurt quite a little bit.
yeah, it was the Rutgers game last year.
Yeah.
Dude got his beat out of him, and then he's out there limping on the field. It's kind of funny to see, actually, but also at the same time, like, dang, he's toughing it out. And then he throws that pass.
Yeah, that was nice.
But
Anyway,
yeah, I do want to touch on something. So I don't know why the media is covering, or I shouldn't say the media necessarily, but I don't know why it's such a big topic of Nebraska not having a spring game. I think it's actually ridiculous that people care so much.
well, yeah, and I can understand where they're coming from, the rules coming from, and saying, I don't really want to make film for other teams to see us.
Well, it makes total sense, and Deion Sanders, like him or not, he just got, I believe, a 5-year, $50 million extension.
Did he?
Yeah. I just saw that today. But he was wanting to do a joint practice with Syracuse, do 3 practices. I think that'd be great.
Well, I heard some other guys talking about that in kind of say you wouldn't want somebody in conference
No.
and
And,
maybe
and we'll,
somebody.
we'll give them the credit here. You're talking about Doc Talk.
Yep,
Yep, Zatica, Justice, and then they had Adam Carricker on. It was a
right,
great show. Go check that out if you haven't already. But they did talk about that and not want to have in conference team.
right. But you'd have somebody like I don't know. It seems to me you'd have somebody like a Kansas.
Yeah, I mean, and that makes sense. Or even K-State. I mean, that's a 2-hour drive.
Right,
You could have K-State come up for a couple days, and then the next year you go down there, and it doesn't need to be televised, but I think you get a lot out of that spring.
right,
And then who was it? It was Carricker said somebody brought it up to him, and he said, when you have 11 guys on the field, it's a lot less likely to get injured versus your 22,
right.
and that's a good point. And it's not saying that
And
you
you can play
take away
number ones
reps.
against number ones a little bit too.
Yes, and it's not something you do and beat the hell out of it. You're not going to play a game, but you might be able to run 60 plays a piece
Hmm.
and then do some drills and stuff, one-on-one competitions, run scale with the DBs and receivers, and I think you get a lot out of it.
Well, I think it would make it closer to the NFL and like that, where they have their a lot of their preseason games, not yeah, preseason games where you're looking at your talent and this and that, and actually your number ones aren't getting all the starts.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the I want to say almost the farm system of the NFL now. I mean, I get what you mean with college football, but
Right,
it's built off the NFL now.
right.
The Big Ten, SEC are taking it over, but I don't know. I guess they're gonna have the Husker games.
Yeah, I'm not too hot on that yet.
It's gonna be interesting to see how it goes. I know Matt Rule said he wanted to have a media flag football thing so he could
Right.
go and get online and critique
I don't.
the media.
I'm not quite sold on this Husker Days or Husker Games or something. They're wanting to. They wanted it to be a fundraiser, but um, and I know it takes more money now than ever before, but I'm just not too sold on the whole idea yet.
So I mean, I was gonna see if they had a media thing to just get you in there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
a flag football.
yeah,
Yeah, I
you'd be split in.
probably. Well, I'm probably a defensive back with my vertical.
Yeah, you'd probably do better than some.
Anyway,
But no, I just with the spring ball, it's what I like about this spring is that you are seeing NFL competition. I mean, these guys are fighting for a roster spot. This ain't everybody improve. It's I'm gonna beat your ass here so I can have a spot on the team. I think that'll be. I don't want the roster limit to happen, but once it does, I think this is going to benefit Nebraska and getting people to scrap to earn a spot. I mean, yeah, we all know Dylan Raiola is going to be the starting quarterback,
yes.
but some of these defensive backs, they got to. It's now or never for them.
Well, and,
I think you're going to see some under the radar walk-ons emerge. There might be some scholarship guys that don't make the team.
yeah. Well, we all know that Dylan's probably right now one of our best recruiting tools out there too for a lot of offensive linemen and receivers and everything else.
That's the only reason they got him. Well, I shouldn't say the only reason, but it was the main reason. Him and I mean, you got to give Matt Rule credit and the staff they have, but still.
Yeah.
Let's close out really quick with some Nebraska Pro Day. I was at the Pro Day to see a little bit of the Huskers working out. Ty spoke to the media afterward. Actually, he didn't do obviously the 40 or in that 4.8 at at the combine, but he did some drills and stuff, and you
That's
could
a lot of meat in motion at 4.8 for him.
when we mentioned it earlier about the draft, he's going to get drafted. I would not be totally shocked to see him get his name called at 30. It's pretty out there. I mean, that's going to take a lot, but his draft stock continues to rise, and I think that whoever gets him is going to get a steal.
I think it's because of his heart.
Yeah, but the dude's savvy with his fundamentals, and he's strong.
And he's got more heart than anybody out there.
Now Nash, I don't know. I could see Nash being an undrafted free agent, and I could see Nash going in the 5th to 7th round. I think that Nash is going to make a roster. I really do.
Yeah, I do too.
And then you look at that Tommy Hill probably get drafted. He wasn't even working out at the pro day from what I was aware of, but you saw Thomas Fidone was doing stuff. We were talking about him, kind of surprised that he's
He was an underperformer this year for me, but
well, it's just I don't think he was necessarily utilized the best way, and then also factoring in he just wasn't quick enough. I mean, people were saying how impressive his 4.7 40 was. That's I mean, Ty ran a 4.8,
right.
and I get the height and everything, but still, I just don't. I think the speed's really going to hurt Fedoni.
Yeah.
But
And the tight end position, because of some of the people we've seen in the pros, and how they performed, is becoming a major thing in college football because it goes on to it, and they're utilizing tight end for a lot more things than they used to.
oh, yeah, absolutely, and that's why I think Kiner Carberg is a perfect fit to move to tight end because he has that athleticism.
Right.
And then Bryce Benhart, I don't think he'll get drafted. He'll get picked up just because of his size.
I don't think so.
Gifford is a name to watch. And John Bullock. Gifford had an impressive 20-yard shuttle.
I think Gifford, I don't know that he can play on as defensive back, but I think as a special teams guy, and special teams is a big thing.
There's no slouch on playing special teams in the NFL.
No,
I mean, I think anybody would take that opportunity if they could.
right.
So, oh, I think Nebraska's going to have three guys drafted. Now, Ty's the guarantee, but I'm not going to guarantee that Tommy Hill's going to get drafted. I mean, they got him projected to go maybe the fifth round. I'm not even going to guarantee Fedoni. I know people are high on him, but I think they will get three. Don't be surprised to see Nash
I'll tell you what I'll do, make you a bet. Nash
on
gets
the air.
on the air. Nash gets drafted. It's for what do you want? Supper out or a 30 pack and a steak here?
30 pack mistake.
Okay, I'll do a 30 pack and a steak here, but you got to pay up. Nash gets drafted before Bryce Benhart does.
I can't. I'm not making
You were
that.
a big Bryce Benhart fan all year long. You told me he was going to play on Sundays.
I'm not going to make a bet that I can't win.
Okay.
No, but I do want to know. So, what are you really? You're obviously not going to the press conferences and the practices, but what are you kind of looking to see from this spring out of Nebraska?
What
And it
am I
doesn't have to be so broad. You can focus on a position, but I'm interested to hear what are you wanting to see from Nebraska?
from improvement over this from last year? What
Yeah, you just what progression do you want to see in the spring be made?
I want to see, um, I'd love to see a ball control offense and I'd love to see the screw ups on special teams and some field goal improvement in punting, not so much on punting, but improvement in kicking and kick coverage and returns. That's what I think. If you take our special teams and remove their screw ups and um, weakness, Nebraska wins three more games last year. Easy.
Well, and let's say you take that 3-9 Nebraska team from 2021 with Scott Frost. If they had mediocre special teams, they probably would have been an 8-win team.
Right.
Now, they got to take, I think that having an Eckler, I mean, is huge. He's one of the best special teams coaches in the country, hands down.
Okay.
So you have him there, but will it translate to Nebraska? Because they've had great coaches coaching special teams and it's failed. I mean, Ed Foley, as bad as he failed, he was successful at Temple, Baylor. I mean, so,
Maybe the game passed him by.
well, I mean, the long snapping passed him by, or passed by our holder quite a bit.
Yeah. It did pass by.
That's why I thought it was
Yeah.
funny you say that.
Right.
But no, I mean, right now you're not getting to see too much with the practices. So you're getting to see some drills and stuff, and then some guys that really stand out. But I mean, you can take a paper and pencil in probably the starters, especially in this NIL era. So it's just off-season training. That's all it is.
Right.
And some guys,
Now,
we all
do you think the bowl game and the extra practices is going to show up as a plus for Nebraska's team this year?
absolutely because you got what was so huge about that bowl game now is they got those guys, Quit Knives, who was able to practice for a month. I mean, Holgerson was talking about, was it Holgerson? Or Rule? I think it was Holgerson who said, yeah, it was Holgerson said how Quit Knives improved so much from the postseason through the bowl game
Okay.
and making that step. And Rule was saying that's somebody I really am intrigued about because Emmett Johnson's great. I think he's going to be a great back for Nebraska this year, and they're going to have a dynamic duo with Raiola in the backfield. But you can't have just one running back.
No.
And Rule was saying he just hasn't got the opportunity because people are ahead of him. I mean, he's 6'3", 215 pounds. I'm not going to say he's going to be the next Eddie George by any means.
No.
I mean, that for a Nebraska fan, that'd be great, but
Being Eddie George, doesn't somebody want him to be a coach?
he is a coach. He's at Bowling Green. He was at Mid Tennessee State, I believe,
Right.
or Tennessee State, something, and now he's at Bowling Green.
Right.
But that's the running back will be fun to watch. And Rule was saying how they got Mekhi Nelson, and then Jamari Parker and Connor Booth's a guy to look out for. Then I believe it's Kenneth Williams. He was kick return in the bowl game. So they got some guys in there that can make plays and they're confident.
This year it's going to be funny to watch what they do with Ja'Cory Barney and Harburg. Those are going to be two surprises for everybody. Guys with heart and guys with talent.
And you pair that with these split ends that you got now. I say split ends. I know they call them wideouts now, but you got Genki and Isaiah Hunter at your Z and X position, so you can have Barney be in the slot, and then you got this Hartley Gilmore, and then you also have these true freshmen. They got speed. There's a lot of speed. I mean, it was almost kind of concerning to see some of these linebackers get cooked so badly by Nebraska's receivers. It's
Really?
well, and some of them were lower tiered walk-ons, but still, the Isaiah Mosey, I was more impressed with him than Cortez Mills, and Cortez Mills was supposed to be the guy of the group, but that Isaiah Mosey, that dude can cut. So,
Well, anyway,
well, that's about all we got to talk about today. But thank y'all for listening, and Jim's back, so
go Big Red.
all right.